All right, so the starter this week is about, and the work is about the ISTE standards, and the starter is about standards for educators. So in math and ELA, we've got the Common Core standards. In science, we've got the Next Gen Science standards. In social studies, the C3 standards. And educational technology, we've got the ISTE standards. And not only are there standards, but there's standards for educators, there's standards for students and administrators. Whew, it's pretty exciting stuff. Before we get into what the standards are and what ISTE is, just a real quick word about standards. I know that's a loaded term for some, but really let's just think about it as like the things that we want to think about, and standards are kind of benchmarks that we want to reach as educators. Pretty much every profession has standards, and we have standards for our own behavior and ways we interact and the way we do work. So as best you can, I would hope that we can kind of step away from any, any emotional response or connection we have with the word standards, and just think about this as a list of things that educational technology standards, or what educators ought to be or could be or should strive towards in terms of educational technology. So ISTE is the leading international group for ed tech. You should sign up for their website if you haven't already done it, and you don't need to pay to access a lot of their stuff. But ISTE is the one who has put these standards together. So for the details of this starter, there's 5 sections. I'm not going to read through these because you can do that, but each yellow line corresponds with one of the sections. So the first part's just going to be about predicting what's in them. Just get the brain working. Don't look them up. Don't worry about being right or wrong. Just guess. There's 7 of them. And just guess what the little titles, 1 or 2 word titles. Don't spend too long on this. Just think about it. And just as a cue, so for students, 3 of the 7 standards, so the ISTE standards for students, are knowledge constructor, creative communicator, global communicator. So what would that look like for educators? And that's the standards we're dealing with in this starter. And again, don't spend too long. If you already know about them, just try to remember them. Second, just take a quick look at the 7 standards. And if you click on this, you'll go straight to a document. But I'm not going to do that because that'll give it away. And just a little reflection, where were you accurate? What'd you get? What did you not guess? Just again, try to get the brain going, no judgment here. And if you got them all wrong or all right or somewhere in between, great. Which of the 7 standards feels most urgent to you right now, and why? And then I want to have you take a more detailed look at each of them. And you can use whichever of these resources you feel is helpful. I'd suggest at least reading or going through 1 or 2 of them. This link here is a more detailed and pretty boring description of the architecture of the standards themselves, so you know what I mean when I use terms like summary descriptions or key indicators. And it's a link down below, and it's visually presented, and then there's also a short video. So using your own words, after you've gone through these resources, create your own summary description for each of the 7 standards. And that's the one sentence description of the standards that you'll click to, I think when you go, no, not here, when you go here, create your own version of that in your own words, just to get your brain going. Then the next section, focus on one of the standards, choose one of them based on whichever reasons you want. And then for that standards, choose a key indicator under the standard. Each standard has 3 or 4, A through C or A through D. And then for that chosen key indicator, describe or show a learning activity that would demonstrate the indicator and justify why it does. And the asterisk just indicates an example that I put together, so you know what I'd hope to see there. And then finally, the last section is reflection. After doing A through E, share the following 3 items, A through C. So something from the standards for educators that relates to something that you've thought about, considered, whatever, in this class. Second, something that you particularly appreciate from the standards and why. And then finally, something you have a question or concern about. And that should do it. Hopefully this description is helpful. And if it's not, sorry, I tried to keep it short.